What is good, everybody? We have a bonus episode of Major Money, and today I have with me one of my favorite people to talk to and mess around with, Andy, also known as Goated Marino. Somehow, this man is in first place, and he's just starting to run away with it in our season-long, props or not props, but spread picks for the NFL season. You're starting to run away. So I knew I had to get the mastermind in here for our NFL Saturday divisional round major money. So Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It feels wonderful to be on top of the mountain. First place. I know the way I do things is unconventional, but we make it work. We make it work, and it's profitable, man. So that's what we do.
Dude, you've been killing it recently, and then you send something in the group chat that absolutely pisses me off because I'm like, how are we losing to this man? It is so annoying sometimes, but hey, it works. You're making money. That's all that matters. You are destroying us, so I can't talk too much trash. I banter back from third place, hoping to maybe somehow jump back in. So let's hope that luck continues. We got hot hoops in here. We got Bimmy. Well. No one say any other good things to Andy. I've already said too many. I've already made a mistake here. But without further ado, Andy, what do you want to play first?
There's a lot of good plays for today and tonight. One of the favorite plays that I only get to go on for the next couple minutes, for the next hour, is Nico Collins. They got him a special 54.5 receiving yards over under. You already know he's going over, man. They're going to be throwing the ball up because the Texans are going to be behind quite a bit tonight. So I love a lot of these yards plays for Texans receivers and for CJ Stroud. Even though they haven't been playing their best in the last couple weeks, they're going to be behind. They're going to be slinging it all over the field.
I agree with that. They're going to have to throw it. Nico Collins is that obvious target right now. And you get a discount. It's always better when you get almost a 30-yard discount. The other one that you can see is Jahmyr Gibbs, 64.5 rushing yards. He plays a little bit later tonight. That's the other discount available. I mean, I think that's a pretty solid one. I think Montgomery is back, though, so
Yeah.
he might not be able to get as many shares as he's been getting. So, like the past couple games, he probably not going to get 100 yards, but 64.5 against Washington, I think that's a good discount as well. My pick that I'm jumping to in the KC Houston game, I'm going with, in my opinion, one of the my favorite receivers. People don't talk about him as much anymore. They always, when they were talking about top receivers, seemed like he always got a little bit discredited, even when he was getting props. I'm betting in the playoffs against Houston, which I think Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, I think all these guys can be able to take advantage of that. DeAndre Hopkins at 33.5 receiving yards, give me that every single time. So that
Yeah.
is like the one that jumped out and screamed to me, is DeAndre Hopkins. Andy, do you have another pick from this game?
Yeah, I also, man, I've been riding with John Menchie all week. I don't know who to pick for Kansas City because they've been spreading it out all year pretty evenly. Even
Mm-hmm.
I've been burned a couple times with my Kelsey picks. So
Yeah.
I really like 35.5 yards for Menchie because he has a lot of talent. He's a speedster down the stream, and he can get that all in one play, man. I know he hasn't been hitting recently, as you can see in the chart, but I like to be a little risky sometimes. I like that play a lot.
So you have two Houston picks for this game. I actually have two KC picks. So this actually goes really well. I do have a rush yards, so I'm going against the receiving yards, which is they've always been. Isaiah Pacheco, 43.5. I
Mhm.
think in this game, he's not hit it as much. He's been a little bit banged up coming back. I think in the playoffs, a guy like Isaiah Pacheco, like, becomes the guy. Like, he is someone you can give it to. Doesn't matter the yardage, doesn't matter anything. He will run someone over. You need that physicality. He could bust off a 50-yard run as well. I'm going to lean on Kansas City possessing the ball a lot. Kansas City hasn't been like a really fast scoring team or even a really high scoring team. I think are they still like the only team in the NFL to not score 30 points or
Yeah,
something?
they're still that team, man.
Yeah, so like I think they can just lean on Pacheco. I think this is a good number for a playoff game. So that is our fourth pick for this game. So we got two Kansas City, we got Hopkins and Isaiah Pacheco from me, and then you're taking advantage of that discount for Nico and then getting Mechie over there for 35.5. So we'll move on to the second game. Andy, I'll let you go first. It is the Lions versus the Washington Commanders. Could be a very exciting game here. No one really knows what's going to happen, in my opinion. At least, like I could see this playing out so many different ways. So, Andy, since you are so good at telling us the results of games, what is your pick?
For the game, man, I've been riding with the Commanders all season, and for all the viewers who've been watching Setting the Edge with me, Major, Tony, Ray, and Sean, that me and Ray had a little wager, and we settled it thankfully on stream. I had put some money on the Commanders like back in week 6. Ray put some money on the Lions. Hypothetically speaking, if they had met in the playoffs and it ended up happening, I wussed out. Ray let me get a little cash out, and we settled things there. I don't think that the Commanders will win the game, but I really like them to cover the spread. It's still at +9 right now. I think it's going to be very competitive, and I think they have a chance to win it. They're just a team that they just have a lot of energy. Jalen Daniels in any given moment can make a huge play. They have the receivers for it, and their defense is surging towards the quarterback. As long as Marshawn Lattimore doesn't get burnt on every play, they have a good chance. I hope they don't put him one-on-one on Amon St. Brown because it's curtain calls at that point. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning Lions to win, but I'm leaning Commanders to cover.
Hey, good teams win, great teams cover, right?
Yes.
My pick in this game, other than obviously the Jahmyr Gibbs square, I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels pass touchdowns. 1.5. I think this is a pretty good square. The Lions put up a bunch of points. Jaden Daniels has been phenomenal. He's consistently hitting that 2 mark that he needs to hit. And in a game where I feel like they're going to have to pass a lot, and the Lions don't have the greatest defense in the world, they have to score a lot. I think Jaden Daniels can take advantage of this with 2 passing touchdowns. So that's going to be my first pick out of this game. Andy, what's your first prop?
Can you let me see the running backs? Because I wanted to see what David Montgomery's rushing yards were.
47.5.
47.5. I like that number a lot. I think he's gonna be back, and they're gonna be feeding him quite a bit. I really like that play. I think between him and Gibbs, especially towards like that fourth quarter, the game is probably gonna be competitive, but they're gonna be running out the clock, and he's gonna get his yards.
That fourth quarter, that winning time, they get the big bruiser in there. Yeah, David Montgomery, he's a very good running back. And that 1-2 punch, Sonic and Knuckles, that they like to be called. I don't think there's a better 1-2 punch in the NFL, to be honest with you, as far as running backs.
And you see it firsthand with the Green Bay Packers when they go against them, so you already know.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. How'd the Dolphins do? All right, like
we did next year.
next year. Yeah. Okay, Cowboys. Okay. All right. We're moving. Computer is just absolutely bugging out right here. Sam Laporta, 50.5 receiving yards. This guy is just sneaky, consistent. Even people have been talking sometimes like he's not been as good this year. He's been doing his thing. Washington, I don't have much faith that they're going to stop the Lions. I think Laporta, he can get a 35-yard catch. I think he could have 5-6 receptions in this too. He's a very mobile tight end. He knows how to find the open spots. Goff, almost similar to a Tua, amazing distributor. Like he's going to get the ball to his spots and let them do their thing. And his receivers and his tight ends and running backs also, put them in success situations. And I think Laporta is going to be able to do that against the Commanders. He's kind of like that third receiving guy behind Jameson and Amon-Ra. And if Laporta is like your third guy you're worried about, you got a pretty scary guy. And then you have Gibbs out of the backfield for receiving yards. So I really like this Laporta over 50.5 receiving yards. So Andy, we're going to close this out here. What is our final prop?
Right, just a little below where Zach Ertz was.
30.
Yeah, I love his number at 30. I think that's very it's an underproduced number right there. He's been hitting it recently. He's been counted on when it counts now, in week 18 and the first week of the wild card, man. He's like he's Jaden Daniels' safety blanket when they're double teaming Torrey McLaurin, whatever you want to call him. He goes immediately to Ertz. I would also consider Dammy Brown. He did great last week, but I'm a little more confident in Ertz.
Yeah, I'm more confident in Ertz too, from what you're saying. De'Ami Brown, UNC football legend. Anyone that makes the NFL from North Carolina is a UNC football legend. So we got to rep them and support them. Before we close, though, I've not forgot. You see it at the bottom of your screen rotating, and you see it right here. New member offer. Play $5, get $50 instantly. That's if you use the code 5. Now, if Andy continues his streak as done on setting the edge that we do weekly, and you can go look at the records, you can go look at the live picks. It's all true. Somehow this man is dominating. If he continues that, I would tail his picks and just forget mine, to be honest with you. So Andy might make us all a bunch of money today.
Oh no, that's a lot of pressure, man.
Send him like Twitter DMs. You see his thing, Goated Marino, and he will reimburse you for all of your losses. He told me that.
Bro.
So isn't that right, Andy?
Yeah, I gotta reimburse once Ethan sends me the money, then I send y'all the money. It's a pay when paid transaction.
Okay. So once Ethan pays you,
then I reimburse the fans, But at the end of the day, I represent 5 reasons, so it's what they say. It's not on me.
So be sure to use the code 5. Get those $50. The best time to do it now is we have college football playoff coming up on Monday. 0.5 passing yards free square for Will Howard if you're in a state that lets you use that. It's the perfect time to do it. You're like guaranteed to win almost. If you play it smart, you are literally guaranteed to win. So this is the perfect time to sign up. That's with the code 5. Be sure to use the discounts we have talked about today with Jahmyr Gibbs and Nico Collins. You can see Gibbs has now shot up to the number 1 square. Nico Collins at 54.5 is now the 6th square. Andy, I have one last question for you, though.
Yeah.
I asked you who's going to win the Lions. Who's going to win KC versus Houston?
That feels like the one we're all going to get wrong, but it has to be KC, man. The Texans, they could put a rabbit out of their hat, and DeMeco Ryans is a great head coach. But this is just a game that KC wins. They win convincingly, and they'll be going against the Ravens, in my opinion, in the AFC Championship. I think the Ravens will handle business tomorrow as well.
That is a crazy just throw out, just not respecting the Bills. The Bills are going to win that game. I picked them in our competition, setting the edge. So if you thought this was fun listening to me and Andy bicker back and forth, you have only seen the start of it. Watch setting the edge, typically midweek. I'm a little bit later in the day. So if you're like, I work late, you can still watch us live on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you get your 5 Reasons Sports content. We all are everyone's over 500. So we're all doing pretty decent. Andy is in the lead. Now I think he's like 4 or 5 games up on me on 3rd place. But we will see y'all next time for a Major Money. We might do another bonus one tomorrow for all the games, but we will see y'all when that happens. Y'all have a good night, and let's, as always, steal some money from PrizePicks.